Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Nutmeg Sports. On occasion, the fastball doesn't quite develop, so you need a little bit of a late start. Dave Stewart's over there. I'm Rob Adams. Happy to have you along. We're a few seconds late. No big deal. We'll be with you for the next half hour regardless. Dave, happy playoff season, or state playoff season. How are you?
We're in the middle of the states. That's great. It's a good time of year. Plus, it doesn't feel like winter anymore. It feels like I want to go cover a baseball game today.
I was just telling everyone here off the air, temperatures throughout the region are just phenomenal. Upper 60s, near 70 here in Shelton. Down in Newark, New Jersey, it's 80.
It's awesome. This is great. This is great.
Phenomenal weather. So anyway, happy to be with you. Coming off a pretty interesting night in boys basketball to get Class LL started.
Oh yeah, definitely some overtime games, some upsets. It was good stuff last night, and a lot of FCX teams moving on.
We want to show you some video, in fact, of at least one, if not more, games, and we showed you this one on coffee break this morning. How about the job that the Greenwich Cardinals did, not only staying with the Stanford Black Knights, getting into overtime, and I had a feeling that'd be a good game to begin with. Mm-hmm. But a little late magic there down the stretch.
Yeah, and Connor Harkins, the man for them, doing it the last couple of years, and hits the game-winning shot in overtime, and they're moving on.
Watch this here, courtesy of our friends over at Greenwich Sentinel. Check this out. Plenty of time, the step, the move, the pull up, and bye. See ya. Tweet your buzzer beaters, my friends.
And that's just a clutch player and a leader, because I was reading a story Dave Fierro wrote for the Greenwich Time, and in it Connor Harkins said he was saying during the timeout he's the one who wanted the ball, he would hit the shot and win it. And he got it and he did it.
You want to be the guy who wants the ball, and you could see, and you got to get a hand in his foul. You almost be better off fouling him in that spot, because he's so deadly from downtown. Now, of course, it was a tie game. You can't foul.
You can't foul at that point.
Yeah, you can't foul there. But
and a lot of got to give a lot of kudos to the Stanford Black Knights too. Great season. Jay DeVito, incredible this year. One of the top players in the league. And they go down probably a bit too early than they expected, but it was a great game.
And Jay has kind of become a friend of the program, and I feel really badly because I don't think they won another game after Jay appeared on this show a few weeks ago.
I hope we don't have a curse going or anything.
I don't believe in curses. I don't believe in those jinxes, but nonetheless, a tough end of the season for the Black Knights, Danny Melzer and the entire crew there. So congratulations on a good season. Sorry it ended the way it ended, but good for the Cardinals. They move on, although they'll have a tough road with the Weaver Beavers up next.
Yes, that's a tough game. They're number 4 in the state, or number 4 in Class LL. I think they're playing at Classical Magnet. That they're going to have it at that.
And Weaver's right there in the top 5 of the state overall, as I recall.
Yeah. So that's going to be a tough one for them. But you know what? At this point, they got by that big first one, and you just go out there and you give it your best shot. Nobody's, people aren't expecting you to do something, a 20 seed versus a 4 seed, so you just go out there, wing it, and see what happens.
And I love the history lesson quickly in girls basketball, just to stay in Greenwich for a moment. The Cardinals are into the semifinals, and every quote I have read said, the first time they're in the semis in a long time. Nobody seems to know the last time the Cardinals made it this far.
Yeah, I've noticed that. It's in recent memory. The other thing I've noticed. So yeah, that's great. Hey, great for them. Abby Wolf, great season. Great career. And personally, I thought they were going to. I picked them to win the FCX. That didn't go too far because they got out in the quarterfinals.
And big time in the first round.
Well, Ridgefield seemed to have a.
They had their number.
But hey, to beat a team like Ward, they're gonna do some damage. They did some damage there, and they knocked a team out. The thing about the girls' basketball tournament that's strange is they're playing their semifinals on Friday, and then the winner has to wait a full week. And I really don't feel that's fair to the girls' basketball teams that are playing.
It's like, how do you fix it? The girls want to play at Mohegan Sun regardless. Mm-hmm. I could understand that. I mean, heck, I like it. I'm still thinking about going and seeing the games at the Sun myself, but I'm certainly going to try to go to Ingalls for the hockey. But it's a tough thing, because if you want to play in that big arena, you've got the long wait, because they start the girls early to begin with. I don't know what the fix is.
Well, I think it was kind of strange because at both ends, because now you're going to have this long delay, and then at the beginning of the tournament, they were playing a lot of the first round games on a Saturday, a day or two after they. A lot of these teams had their conference tournaments. Like Ward and Stanford were playing the next day after playing on Friday night. I don't think that's fair. I think they should have kind of spaced that out. Maybe give 4 or 5 days. Start the tournament a little bit later. Let teams maybe scrimmage, and that might be the answer. Just push the start of that tournament back a little bit. And you don't want to get into a situation where both are playing on, a lot of games on one night. So go girls one night, boys the next, kind of maybe space it out over like a 4-day period, things like that.
And just to finish that thought, Greenwich, the 10 seed, will play E.O. Smith, the 3 seed. They're 21-2. That game will be at Sheehan High School on Friday night at 7. South Windsor, the 8 seed, will play number 4 Stamford, giving you the chance of an all-FCAC final. South Windsor and Stamford, 8-4 game, 7 o'clock at Kennedy High School. That also, I believe, Friday night. And then they wait 8 to 9 days to play the championship game at Mohegan Sun Arena.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long time. You're going to get rusty. It doesn't seem to be fair. There's not going to be that many teams you're going to be able to find that'll scrimmage you either, because everybody else is done with their season, looking forward to the spring.
I will say, with no disrespect to either E.O. Smith or South Windsor, I'd like to see Stamford and Greenwich both make it to the finals, all FCAC final. Tiana England against Abby Wolf, winner takes all. I like it.
I like it too. And how about Tiana Wolf the other night? 41 points against NFA
so
and that game, and just she just took over. I think she was 15 and 16 from the free throw line.
Such a phenomenal player.
Clutch player.
On the other side, back to boys basketball, in Class LL, we had a pretty good overtime game between Ridgefield and Xavier, and Matt Bartolucci was the man with about 10 seconds left. We've got video of that courtesy of Game Time CT. Let's check it out here. It's out to Matt Bartolucci for the tray, and boom. 10 seconds left, and they were able to hold on and win that game and move on to the second round. So good for the Tigers, and it sets up an all-FCAC game. You've got Ridgefield-Trumbull now.
Yes, and that's, they had a few in the first round here with three all-FCAC matchups, which we avoided for the girls in the first round. But, some great games, and now we'll get another one with Ridgefield playing number 6 Trumbull. And hey, these games, when you go down to overtime like that, that's what the tournament is all about. It's tears for some teams and it's smiles for other teams. It's just a great time of the year to watch these games, especially to hit a shot like that at the end, like Bartolucci did.
If you let that 22 seed, hang around, you're living dangerously. That's really all it comes down to.
I always feel like the seeds kind of disappear the further you get into the tournaments, because you're either facing a team that had a great season. You may face a team that had a great season but maybe finished slow early in the tournament. Once you get to like the third round, everybody's got momentum. You're playing teams that are on winning streaks. You're playing teams that are feeling good about themselves and want to keep going. And
West Haven gave Fairfield Prep all they could handle, a 4-point 51-47 win for the Jesuits, moving them on to the second round, where they'll meet the West Hill Vikings. And I saw Fairfield Ludlow head coach John Daly's tweet, a Facebook post that he put up. Good team he had this year. He gets a lot out of those kids. It was not as good a team as last year's team, but you could tell he really liked this group, got a lot out of them. They were a little banged up at the end of the year, but that's a good team there. I enjoy those Falcons, so good for them. They'll be big again next year. I mean, they could be really a favorite next year if all things kind of break right for them. But the Vikings are riding a different wave right now, and although it's only the second round, a rematch of last year's championship at Fairfield Prep tomorrow night. I don't know. I could be very tempted to go to that as well.
That's an interesting one. It's a tough call for West Hill. Fairfield Prep obviously is just, a phenomenal team, but West Hill's really, really hot right now. They're 10 of 11, I believe, is their winning streak right now. They're 10 of the last 11. They're interrupted by Wilton in the last week of the season, but that's a hot team. That's a good team. They have a lot of talent. We saw them in the FCAC final and the semifinals, and they're rolling right now. They look really good.
We'll go through the balance of the bracket here in Class LL. Crosby got the win due to the forfeit over Shelton 2-0. Of course, the score really irrelevant, but Crosby moved on thanks to the forfeit. Kennedy won 62-59 over Cheshire. They meet in the second round. We told you about Greenwich and Weaver in that 24 matchup. The game's scheduled to be at Classical, and that is Thursday night, 7 o'clock, excuse me. Ledyard, the 5 seed, knocked off Manchester by 4. They will play Simsbury as the Trojans knocked off NFA, the 21 seed, so you got a 12-5 there. That is Thursday night. Danbury moved on with a 65-31 win over Staples. They will play number 18 McMahon, so another all-FCAC game, a 4-point win for the Senators over Hamden. Wilbur-Cross and Glastonbury will play. Wilbur-Cross blasted Hartford Public 50-40, or excuse me, won by 2, 50-48, excuse me. And Glastonbury, a 6-point win over the Amity Spartans. So Glastonbury, the 23 seed, will play number 7 Wilbur-Cross. Hillhouse will play East Hartford. Hillhouse by 40 over the Darien Blue Wave, and East Hartford by 8 over Fairfield Ward. Let's go back to the Hillhouse game because a 40-point win. Darien only won 7 games. Do we now find ourselves looking at kind of the role model for why are we letting these teams into the tournament?
When you look at Staples is in the same boat. They lost to Danbury by 34. That was my point last week when we were talking about that. I hate that rule because I think there's a lot of people who have a problem with the 40% rule where 8 is an automatic qualifier, 8 and 12. Which is still a losing record.
Yeah,
I
it is.
kind of understand that only because you have some conferences that are so strong, and an 8 and 12 team in a conference like, say, the FCAC on an average year might be better than a team from another conference that went, say, 10 and 10 or 12 and 8. But I don't know. When you start lowering the number to let teams in, like what did Danbury or Staples or Hillhouse or Darien get out of that game?
Yeah.
Other than just being on the court, I don't know that really means that much, to either team at that point.
A quick run through Class L before we take a break. Windsor and Platt, both winners. Bassick, a big win over Vinyl Tech. They'll play Willoughby. East Catholic takes on Wethersfield in the second round. Notre Dame of West Haven by 3 over Bulkley. Daniel Hand, an overtime win over E.O. Smith, so they will meet. Newington and Bunnell will also meet. Harding and Maloney, Middletown and East Lyme, and Pomperog and Lyman Hall will be your second round matchups there, so good stuff. Before we go to break, Dave, I'm going to set up a teaser for you.
Uh-oh.
I have an interesting story that I found here online that talks about the sports that cause the most injuries to high school athletes. Ponder that. I've got them for you. We will do that when we come back on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Here at the Darien Sports Shop, we are very excited about our newly redesigned men's department. Gentlemen, if you're shopping for work, weekend, or wedding, we've got the latest styles and trends inside our spacious new department just for you. We have vast selections from Peter Millar, Vineyard Vines, Johnny O, Duckhead, Barber, and so much more. And you can even walk out of the store in the new Wolverine 1,000-mile men's boot. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut, or shop us online at dariensport.com.
Can't wait for it to get warmer so you can start fishing again? Get over to the Dock Shop, where they have the latest in fishing tackle, marine electronics, boating supplies, and more. But remember, the Dock Shop isn't your average tackle shop. You'll also find the finest selection of nautical apparel, jewelry, home decor, and gifts in New England. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. 102,000 viewers have enjoyed the HAN Network in just the last 6 weeks. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back with you on Nutmeg Sports. We'll get to hockey in a moment, but I want to run through this list of the sports that cause the most injuries to high school athletes. And the data comes from the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Not only collects data regarding several products, so on and so forth, but they collect data about sports injuries, and then the experts at Health Grove put the data together. I will run through them quickly, certainly the lower half, but they listed 20. You mentioned one sport while we were in break, and that sport is at number 20. Bowling,
really?
At number 20, near and dear to my heart. Rugby, number 19. Believe it or not, just 19.
Yeah, I wonder what the percentage is, though, there. Are these percentages or total number?
Average injuries to 13 to 17-year-olds are listed,
Okay.
and then they break down the percentage, how many of them are male, how many female.
Okay, so these are averages then.
Yes.
That is surprising then.
18th, field hockey. 17th, where's Josh Fisher? Tennis. 16, skiing, which would be number 1 if it was me. Ice skating at 15. 14th, horseback riding.
Interesting.
To number 13, lacrosse. Number 12, track and field. 11th, weightlifting. Now we get to the top 10. Now, number 10, not very common here in Connecticut, snowboarding.
Okay.
Number 9, more common here in Connecticut, and we play it pretty darn well, ice hockey. Number 8, volleyball, of which we hope to have some in the spring. Number 7, softball.
Okay.
Number 6, wrestling, boxing, martial arts. Of course, we're a big wrestling area. Number 5, what did you ask me about?
Oh, cheerleading.
Gymnastics, cheerleading, and dance.
There you go.
5th, average number, 22,671 on average. Number 4, nearest and dearest to my heart, is the sport of baseball. At number 3, and I'm not surprised by this, soccer.
Not at all. In fact, I wouldn't have been surprised to see that at number 1.
I wouldn't have been either. I am surprised by number 1. Number 2 is the one that we so often have this conversation. It's quote unquote the most dangerous sport. Football is number 2, not number 1. And that only leaves one sport when you really think about it. Basketball
Wow.
is number 1.
There's a lot of knee injuries, obviously.
Exactly.
It's got to be that.
119,589 injuries on average to 13 to 17-year-olds per year, with 74% of those males. The most common body part injured, the ankle, and the most common diagnosis is a strain or sprain. So interesting stuff. Health Grove was the source, and thank you very much.
Very interesting. Yeah, soccer is one that you don't necessarily
I think for
always see
me,
there.
what fascinates me about that is we're so quick, and I read it all the time. People that I respect the writer Jeff Pearlman, a fellow Mayapack guy. I've read him say 1,000 times, I will not let my children play football. But yet he coaches his son in basketball.
Well, with basketball, of course, it's the up and down motion. It's you're constantly, landing on your knees,
Takes
putting
a
pressure
toll.
on your knee and your ankle. And in soccer, soccer like basketball, you're not really protected that well. Football, you've got all the equipment which is supposed to protect you and limit some of the injuries.
Yeah.
Whereas in soccer, for example, you don't have anything, and these you've seen plenty of games. They go at each other. There were some really, really hard and scary hits in soccer. Ice hockey is kind of interesting that it's a little bit lower down than I thought, because I remember talking to a couple of trainers about that, and the thing that they were scared the most about in ice hockey was impact and velocity. Where the speed of football, while it can be very fast and you can get that hit, those hard hits with the with kids flying all over the place and stuff, it doesn't match the speed of hockey. Obviously, you're going up and down the ice, so some of those hits can be catastrophic in hockey.
We have one more thing we want to get to on this edition of Nutmeg Sports, and that is diving in deeper to hockey with Division I getting underway. Of course, we talked with Don yesterday on the show about who he picks for Division I. I'm curious what Dave's thoughts are in the big division. And, of course, Division II and III as well, not forgetting about you. So we'll continue on here on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Denali is your outdoor retail destination in the Westfield Trumbull Mall. For the last 21 years, we have carefully selected clothing, footwear, and gear from a variety of the best outdoor brands, such as the North Face, Patagonia, Vineyard Vines, UGG, Merrell, GoPro, New Balance, and many more. Our stores have a friendly, knowledgeable staff to help you with all of your running, hiking, and cold weather needs, and in discovering all things outdoorsy and awesome. Visit us in the Westfield Trumbull Mall or online at denalioutdoor.com.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express, open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
Do you do a lot of running around but get nowhere when you're buying a car? Visit Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram for the one-stop buying experience and stop spinning your wheels.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports. It is a Wednesday edition here on the HAN Network, so that means Dave Stewart is standing right over there, Donald Eng with the day off. But Don did tell us yesterday that he thought in Division I ice hockey, Xavier would ride to the mountaintop. As we look at it today, what do you think?
I think he's going with the easy pick because they're the #1 seed. I like Xavier. Xavier's had a great season. The only game I was able to see him, they did not play well. They lost to New Canaan 5-1. That was in a little spurt of 3 out of 4 losses for them that we were just talking about. But they're going to have a tough. I mean, they're playing West Haven tonight, and they're going to get the winner of Glastonbury Fairfield Prep. And Fairfield Prep at the #9 seed, 8-9-2. That kind of screws up the seeding a bit because you're the #1 seed. Now all of a sudden you're facing the possibility of having Prep in the second round. That they still have to get by Glastonbury, of course, but that's a tough call.
Yeah, I could see Prep moving their way into the Final Four. I think Greenwich has an easier ride to the Final Four. They can beat Ridgefield. They already have. Now, Ridgefield can beat them. Ridgefield can surprise them. I don't believe in Northwest Catholic, and Hamden just does not seem to have it this year. And I know Hamden plays a tough schedule.
They do.
I just don't think this is a true classic Hamden team. So I see Greenwich coming out of that group.
I like Greenwich, too. I think they're riding a high off of the FCAC game. Now, the wild card in there is always the goalie, and Ridgefield's got a pretty good one in Keegan's, and although Greenwich was able to figure him out pretty easily, but if he gets hot, then they could make a game of it.
Exactly, and a hot goalie, you can ride a hot goalie to a championship.
Definitely.
I definitely think Notre Dame of West Haven comes out of the next group, and I have to think Darien is going to be mighty angry over the events of the last week. They're rested up. They're ready. So I'm a little more torn between Xavier and Prep, but I definitely see Greenwich, Notre Dame West Haven, and Darien, the other 3, moving on to the Final Four.
Yeah, you're right. We're right on the money. I'm going to give Xavier the edge over Fairfield Prep to get to that Final Four, but I that is probably that is a huge game. That's a tough game.
And I'd love to see the likes of a Glastonbury blow things up. We love little upsets here and there.
There's always something. It's hockey, and it's not like a sport where you're going to go out there and you're going to just start running the score up on somebody. And these games tend to have a life of their own once they get started. And you stay in it for a period or two, and then all of a sudden, it's a game down to the end. I mean, look, Darien is playing New Canaan tonight. It's a 3 seed versus a 14 seed. On paper, it looks like Darien should handle them.
Right.
First time they played them this year, 8-0. Second time they played them, it was 3-3 going to the third period, and it ended up a 4-3 Darien win. So that's anybody's game.
And I'll tell you, the chance to see Darien and Notre Dame of West Haven play again in the semis, that sounds pretty cool to me.
Well, how bad do you think Darien wants to win this game tonight, beat New Canaan, and then possibly get St. Joe's in the second round?
Think of what the Blue Wave could vanquish in this process. The Blue Wave they play New Canaan tonight, then they get St. Joseph, then they get Notre Dame of West Haven potentially. Then waiting for them in the championship game might be the Greenwich Cardinals.
That would be the path for them. That would be.
I mean, that would be one of the all-time great. I can't think of a better story.
Your rival and then 3 teams that beat you during the season.
Yeah. Woof.
Talk about redemption. I still overall. I like Greenwich for the championship right now. I think they're playing well. They've got an excellent goalie right now in Nick Pizzuto, and they just seem to have. I think beating Darien in the game that we did over at Darien Ice Rink late in the season, I think that took such a burden off their shoulders right there. That they're on that high right now, and I think they're riding the wave, so to speak.
Oh,
they get that pun in there.
I like Greenwich. I like their defense. That's a good group of defensemen back there, of course, with Pizzuto. I worry about the forwards. That's where I have the problem. Yes, Colin Kelly has a howitzer of a slap shot when he unloads that thing. But, are they going to get enough from the actual front line? Are they going to get enough from, Casey Cunningham has great speed. Will he be able to crash the net? Will the forwards be able to get up there and create some havoc in front of whomever is awaiting them? That's my concern with the Cardinals. When they've gone to sleep, it's been offensively. That's been the bigger problem, which really was their problem last year as well going to the championship game. They had decent, very good defensemen. Brian Archino was decent in net. It was just their attack was lacking. That's where I worry about the Cardinals.
I think right now, though, they look like, they solved Ryan Wilson, who was coming off an incredible performance against Darien, and, they score 5 goals against him. They did well against Keegan's. I think right now they're playing really well, and they're getting the scoring. But, you can run into a drought at the wrong time, and it's all over. So it's, what do they say, one and done.
And I wonder... They can definitely beat Ridgefield, as I said. They can beat Northwest Catholic or Hamden. What I'm thinking about is, can they knock off the likes of a Fairfield Prep? Because sometimes a team like a Fairfield Prep, even not a vintage team, can still get in your brain a little bit.
They still wear the Fairfield Prep jerseys.
They do.
And that, I've seen, we've all seen the years that they have a year where they just look like, they're not going to do anything, and all of a sudden you get to the final, and guess who's there? Fairfield Prep's sitting right there and ready to rumble. So they're always dangerous. A lot of these teams, Hamden is another one, even New Canaan, these are programs that have been there, have done it before, and you don't want to overlook them. Ridgefield's another one for when they play Greenwich tonight. So you don't want to look past anybody. Tough competitors here.
And I wonder with the Blue Wave, did that loss to Greenwich, I thought it would awake the sleeping giant. Instead, I felt like they went up against St. Joseph in that semifinal game, and almost like they were looking past the Cadets toward the Cardinals because they wanted that rematch so badly with the Cardinals. So I wondered about them going through that. Now I think the beast is awake again, and I think they're going to steamroll right through here.
The thing you got to watch out for them is frustration, because
Yes.
I think that's what happened with them against St. Joe's. They scored the first goal, and then they couldn't add to it. Ryan Wilson, it was just 44 saves, I believe, in that game, and just incredible. And you could see the frustration building for Darien because they dominated the ice play. They dominated possession time, and but St. Joe's gets the 2 goals, and that's what determines the winner. So what you want to see if you're Darien tonight, you want to see maybe a quick goal right away just to get a lead, maybe take some of that frustration out and go from there. If New Canaan is able to hang with them for a period or two, or late into the second period or whatever, you could see some of that frustration start to build up again, and then that's what you want to do as New Canaan. You just want to hang in with them as long as possible, put the pressure on them, and look for your moment for New Canaan tonight against Darien. That's it's kind of it's an interesting spot because you can go in. Nobody's expecting you to win. If you play well with them, people are going to say, "Wow, New Canaan played well." If you win the game, it's a huge upset.
Quick glances at Division 2 and 3, not to forget about them. Last show of the week, of course. You've got North Branford and E.O. Smith-Tolland, the Bucks playing in the second round. That's at Trinity. You've got Branford and East Haven in the second round at the Bennett Rink. Ward-Ludlow combo against Cheshire will play at 5 o'clock at Northford. And you've got Guilford and North Haven at Bennett Rink as well. So I like the games, the spots where you got some double headers. It's better bang for the buck. So a couple of games at Bennett Rink, 5 and 7:30 on I believe that's Friday night, and that would be the case. So I like that Fairfield co-op. I wonder if it's still North Branford's to win. A lot of times you go a little more chalk in Division 2 and 3. We'll see.
Some of these, some of those teams in Division 2 that are at the top there, they could play with those Division 1 teams and do some damage there. But yeah, I would say right now you got to go with the chalk. Although Fairfield's right there,
they are.
They beat some really good. They beat some top flight teams this year. They beat some good Division 1 teams. So wouldn't be surprised to see that one go 1-2 in the final and make an interesting game.
In Division 3, you've got NFI, New Fairfield Immaculate, taking on BCR. That's at Northford. That's tomorrow night. I can't think of who BCR is. I've been trying to think. It's not CCR. I know that. They're not singing Susie Q or Proud Mary or whatever. Hall Southington takes on West Hill Stamford. That's tomorrow night at the Bennett Rink. That's part of a doubleheader with SWS against Lyman Hall, Haddam Killingworth, and Coggenshaw, still one of my favorite names. And then you got the 210, which is Woodstock against Hoosier and Northwestern.
It's a co-op festival in Division 3, isn't it? It's they're going to throw Hogwarts in there too.
NFI's seemed to have been the team in Division 3 all along. I have a hard time picking against them.
They handled Norwalk last night 8-0, and they're the team to beat there, and they're going to be tough. They're going to be tough. I'd like to see how West Hill Stamford finishes up because they've had a strong season.
They have,
and Staples. You never know what you're going to get with them because they have a good goalie and they have some people who can score. So they could scare you a little bit.
Got a little bit of a chance of an all FC act there, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Couple games away from that, so we'll see.
Still
Keep our fingers crossed.
Little ways to go on that one. With all that said and done, we move on to the weekend, or at least for us anyway, as we get into Thursday and Friday. No games for a couple of days, but we're back with you with Coffee Break tomorrow, and of course Nutmeg Sports back next Monday. Dave, stay out of trouble.
I'll try. It's tough this time of the year when there's not a lot going on. It's idle hands.
Read him as always in the New Canaan Advertiser. See us here on Nutmeg Sports and, of course, on Coffee Break. Thanks to Eric Gendron for directing. We will see you Monday. Coffee Break tomorrow at 11. For Dave Stewart, I'm Rob Adams. Enjoy your evening. Thanks for watching Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. So long, everyone.